The DOJ released a bunch of documents in the case of Mr. Abrego Garcia, number 27.
Big story tonight, the battle over a Maryland man mistakenly deported reaching a boiling point tonight. A contentious back and forth between the Trump administration and Senator Chris Van Hollen, who traveled to El Salvador today. Now the White House releasing new details about the alleged gang ties of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Fox 9's Ayo Bonsu has the latest update.
Hey, Kenneth, good evening. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen is currently in El Salvador trying to get Kilmar Abrego Garcia back home to his wife and 3 children in Prince George's County, while the White House is insisting that they're not bringing him back, saying, 1, he was in the United States illegally, and 2, he's a known gang member.
The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia does not have to do with MS-13.
Standing outside the high-security El Salvadorian prison where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is currently being held, Senator Chris Van Hollen is calling out the White House. Following Garcia's deportation back in March, the Trump administration admitted that sending Garcia back to El Salvador was an error, but they won't do anything to bring him back, even after a Supreme Court ruled that they should facilitate his return.
When they say that Abrego Garcia has been charged with a crime or is part of MS-13. That is a lie.
In 2019, Garcia, who was in the country illegally, was arrested by Prince George's County Police. In these court documents released by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, officers noticed that the Chicago Bulls hat Garcia was wearing during the arrest represents that he was, quote, in good standing with MS-13. They also mentioned that a reliable source said Garcia was an active member of the gang.
Abrego Garcia was also arrested with 2 other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang.
But Garcia was never charged or convicted of a crime. During Wednesday's briefing at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also brought up his alleged violent history.
Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021.
We reached out to Abrego's wife about the order she filed. In a statement to Fox 5 DC, she says, quote, I acted out of caution after a disagreement with Kilmar by seeking a civil protective order in case things escalated. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process. She goes on to say, that is not justification for ICE's action of abducting him and deporting him to a country where he was supposed to be protected from deportation.
Why not release Abrego Garcia today?
Senator Van Hollen was unsuccessful with his goal to see or even speak to Garcia after the vice president of El Salvador denied his request. But the senator says,
I won't stop trying. I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
Now, Kenneth, during today's White House press briefing, the mother of Rachel Morin, this is the Hartford County woman who was raped and then murdered by an illegal immigrant. She shared her story. She's also criticizing Van Hollen, saying, why is he traveling to El Salvador on taxpayer money to bring back someone who isn't a citizen when she says he barely acknowledged her daughter's murder? Now, we did reach out to the senator's office to see if indeed taxpayer money did fund this trip, and we're waiting to hear back.
According to the Western Journal, the chairman of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is steamed at the coverage of Abrego Garcia. He went to X, Twitter, to criticize various news outlets, all Comcast, that failed to give any coverage to Angel Mom Patty Marin. Quote, Comcast outlets spent days misleading the American public, implying that Abrego Garcia was merely a law-abiding U.S. citizen, just a regular Maryland man. When the truth comes out, they ignore it. Abrego Garcia came to America illegally, said the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. Abrego Garcia came to America illegally from El Salvador, was validated as a member of the violent MS-13 gang, a transnational criminal organization, and was denied bond by an immigration court for failure to show he would not pose a danger to others. End of quote. And he says that he's quite concerned about the unfair coverage. And he mentioned that Comcast has an obligation to serve the public interest under federal law. He said media outlets could face scrutiny for spreading falsehoods. End of quote.